Hey everyone, me Kevin here. In my last real estate update, we talked about what it would take for the housing market to crash, how likely it would be to crash, and if it were to crash, how much would it crash. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will link it down below in the description and in the first comment, so that way you can catch up. But first, let's go through this topic, and that is real estate investing dead in 2021, or can you still get from $10,000 to $100,000 in net worth quickly with real estate? Now, many of you know me for covering, well, depending on how early you found me, real estate, politics, or stocks. And the reality is, I've covered all of these because they all connect and they all help you make money fast. But the issue is, real estate by far tends to help you make money the fastest. Now, generally people don't like to hear that because real estate takes a lot more effort than stocks take. Don't get me wrong, I love stocks, but there is a time and a place for stocks. Let me give you a 20-second primer here. If I took all of my money with Lauren in 2011 when we started buying real estate and we put it all into the S&P 500 after the crash, we would have tripled our money and turned it into a little less than $60,000. Instead, we took that same $18,000, put it into a house that is now worth well over $270,000 of equity. Just that after selling costs and everything. That is, if we were to sell that house, dump it, get rid of it, even though we refinanced it twice and took money out of it, whatever, what would be left over in that house? $270,000 after selling fees and everything. So now you're comparing $60,000 to $270,000, which is obviously way larger. How is that possible? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how you would try to do exactly the same thing again in 2021. Okay, first, let's focus on real estate. The very first thing that you have to ask yourself is, do you have a pre-approval letter? The odds are you probably don't, because most people do not have a pre-approval letter standing by. You gotta get one. You gotta pick up the phone and get on the phone with a lender and go, I would love to get a pre-approval letter. Can you send me your needs list? A needs list is just literally a way of asking a mortgage broker, which you could Google, mortgage brokers in Los Angeles, whatever. There are millions of them who want to help you out all over the place, right? Ask them for their needs list. Then they're going to ask you, send us your driver's license, tax returns, bank statements, whatever, W-2s, 1099s, send us your stuff. Last 2 years tax returns, let's go. Send it all over to them. Treat it like a hot potato, get this stuff back over to them. Now, all you need to do is literally twice a day, you're going to open up Zillow, Realtor.com, or Redfin, or maybe all of them, because it doesn't take that long these days because there's just not that much that's hitting the market. You're going to have notifications on all of these, and you're going to look for real estate within 30 minutes of where you live. I don't care if you live in North Carolina or San Francisco. I don't care if you live in Texas or Florida. I don't care if you live in Manhattan or you live in Los Angeles or San Diego, and, prices have gotten too expensive. I can't get started here. Don't care. Don't even want to hear it. It's a stupid excuse. It is what it is. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm trying to shill you to go buy real estate at, the top of the market or whatever. No, that's not the point. The point is to build wealth. The point is the title. Can you get $10,000 and turn that into $100,000 or scale this for your area? The answer, in my opinion, is yes. And the way you do it is you start with a pre-approval letter. Then you're going to look 5 minutes a day at each of these 3 apps to see what the new listings are. And you're going to specifically look at properties that are within 30 minutes of where you live. Ideally, whatever you buy is either a 2-bedroom, 2-bath or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe even a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. So that way, if you needed to or wanted to, you could house hack the property. Which just, look, we pretty much all know what house hacking is right now. You live in the master bedroom and you rent out the other rooms. If you don't want roommates, then don't do it. That's fine. You can't qualify for a house because houses are too expensive because you live in a city, then buy a condo or a townhouse. It doesn't matter. Start with a studio, start with a 1-bedroom, but stop paying rent and stop paying somebody else's mortgage. Now, we're going to go into detail on this, all right? But we're going to keep this nice and simple and streamlined. So, you get your pre-approval letter. If you can't qualify for anything, and I'm not asking you to qualify for your dream home. This is not you qualifying for your dream home. Look, if you're renting a 2-bedroom, 1-bath right now for $2,000 a month, can you get a 1-bedroom for $1,800 a month and save some money? Probably, and you could probably own it, right? So, you can make it happen or find what you're renting. But don't try to upgrade your lifestyle by buying. Keep your lifestyle modest and find something that you can qualify for and buy. If you can't qualify for anything, the problem isn't the real estate market. The problem is you. The problem is you got to get a better job. If you're unemployed and you don't have a job, you're not going to get real estate. If you had a job, but now you don't have a job because you're unemployed or you're laid off or you're furloughed, you're not going to qualify for real estate either. So you got to fix that. Whether that means retraining yourself, getting a license, getting a different kind of job, or retooling your skills, you got to figure out how to provide value to society to make an income and then use that income to qualify for real estate. A lot of people hate the idea of working for the man, but I'll tell you, the easiest way to qualify for real estate is having a W-2 job. Like literally, you can go to college for 4 years, graduate with a comp sci degree, get a job at Motorola making $80,000 a year, and literally on day one, qualify for real estate. How much do you qualify for? Call the lender. There's no sense in me going through it right now. The easiest thing to do is call a lender. The lender's gonna go, hey, well, we wanna run your credit. Let them run your credit. Let them run your credit. Oh my gosh. This whole crap of it, I hear some people say like, oh, don't make sure the lender doesn't run your credit. Let them run your credit. In this competitive environment, they don't need anybody basically talking back to the lenders. You're never going to get a pre-approval letter. Just let them run your credit. Make it very, very simple. Okay, so now you got a job, you got your pre-approval letter. You're going to look at properties twice a day. Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com. Turn the notifications on. You're going to look within 30 minutes of wherever the heck you are. Stop going outside of 30 minutes. If you do not know whether or not it is safe to do a Craigslist transaction where you're thinking about buying at 9 p.m. at night, first of all, you don't want to live there. And B, you don't even want to take the gamble if you don't know. You should know, oh, I'd feel safe on that street. Absolutely. I'd feel great on that street. That's where you want to be. Now, you have two choices of things to look for. You have new construction or you have old construction, stuff that already exists, or resale homes. Ideally, you're going to start with resale homes. Resale homes require that you understand comps. If you are looking at single family real estate, that or townhouses or condos, that means ideally you're looking at similar properties within your same neighborhood. Condos look in the same building. Townhomes look in the same neighborhood. Single family houses look in the same neighborhood. Make sure you look in the same neighborhood, don't walk too far out of the neighborhood, and look at properties that are similar square footage. If yours is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and you're looking at 5-bedroom, 2-baths that are all the way on the other side of the city, you're doing it wrong, okay? You draw a circle around your neighborhood, ideally within the main street borders, and it's like, okay, well, here's a tract home, which a lot of people, when they get started with real estate, Kevin, I can't believe you said tract home. I don't want a tract home. Oh my gosh, the safest thing you can buy in real estate is a tract home, because it's the easiest thing in the world to calm. Stop trying to get the farm out in the middle of nowhere. And this is not an insult on rural, it's an insult on you can't find comps for these things. Don't look for anything unique. Get the cookie cutter stuff that everybody else has. The goal of you buying your first property is not to become this, oh, look at my house, fancy show off, look at my upgraded lifestyle. You want to get the clunker, okay? You want to get the 10-year-old Toyota Camry and you're going to recondition the carpet and maybe do a little sprucing up on the paint job, maybe buff it a little bit and go drive it for another 100,000 miles. That's what you're looking for. So the best way to find that is look for either condos, townhomes, or houses that are built somewhere between 1950 and 2000. Now, ideally, the newer, the better. The newer, the better, because there's less crap that you have to deal with. Like in 1950, you got to deal with maybe sewer issues, whereas in 2000, you probably don't have to deal with sewer issues. It's very simple. If you're buying a 1950s or 60s home, get a sewer inspection and that'll solve it. Then you'll know, did they already upgrade to the sewer line or not? But the point is, you gotta start hunting and hunt for something that's easy to comp. Again, single family or townhouse, same area, look around the same square footage and compare. If flips are selling for $500,000 and there's a fixer that comes on the market for $350,000 and it has 10 offers on it, and you're like, oh, well, it has 10 offers on it. It's going for $50,000 over the asking price. It's like, yeah, who cares? This is like eBay, folks. I don't give a crap what the asking price is. I care about what the final value of the property is. If I can get into that $350,000 listing house, get into it by overpaying $50,000 for it, but the comps are flying off the shelf at $500K, now I know at $400,000 I could put $40,000 to $50,000 of work into this and still bump my net worth by another $50,000. I'm not going to sell the property. If you sell the property, you'd be much closer to break even because you got big fat selling costs. Maybe you'd walk away with 20 grand. But the point is not to flip real estate. The point is for you to get in, build some equity, because when you build that equity, guess what you're going to do? You're going to build your credit. You're going to be able to refinance in the future to get rid of mortgage insurance, because if you're a big weenie baby and you're worried about paying mortgage insurance, you're doing it wrong. Stop being worried about a 0.5% or a 0.75% extra on your interest rate. It's not a big deal. Stop looking at your loan from the point of view of, oh, well, over the next 30 years, bro, you ain't gonna have this loan for 30 years. The average person keeps the loan for 7 years. So stop worrying about mortgage insurance. Let's just cut to the chase here and be real. You're willing to pay 2 to 5% margin, but you're not willing to pay 0.75% on mortgage insurance. It's nuts. Put 3% down. Put 0% down if you're VA, 3% conventional. Try to get homeowner assistance. Google in your area, like Ventura County Community Development Corporation. Call them up. Yo, you got any homebuyer assistance options for moderate income individuals? You might be surprised. You might be able to get a ton of money, literally for free, granted to you by the government, as long as you agree to live in the property for at least a year. Check with your state. Every state is different. But the point is, get into real estate. And the point is, if you're going to get something that needs work, it doesn't matter how much over the asking price things are going for. I don't care what things were listed for. In San Francisco, it's a strategy almost. You list properties low and purposefully try to overbid $200,000-$300,000. People are like, oh my gosh, this house sold for $300,000 over list. That says nothing to me. It says literally nothing to me. What I care about is what you can buy it for and what it's worth. Now, if you're gonna pay $450,000 for a house that needs $50,000 worth of work and it's gonna be worth $500,000 when you're done, well, then there's no point to buying that, because you literally just put in a ton of effort to spend $50,000 and take the risk that maybe you had to spend more, which hopefully you don't. And guess what? You break even with the neighborhood. That makes no sense. In such a scenario, you're better off, two scenarios here, this goes into a fork. One, you buy new construction. New construction, you pay a little bit over market value, but you get 10-year builder warranties. There's nothing for you to worry about. You just make sure you're not buying like on the outskirts in the middle of nowhere. Make sure you're buying in an area that's more tried and tested. And that is a downside of buying new construction, is the neighborhood is not tested. You probably know which neighborhoods in your 30-minute radius are like the high quality, really desirable neighborhoods with the really entrenched like safety statistics, and everything about it is great. Everybody wants to live in that neighborhood. Ideally, that's the kind of neighborhood that you want to be buying in. You want to be buying in the neighborhoods that have proven themselves. So important. Anyway, if you do go the new construction route, that's fine. You can do that. That's acceptable. You're paying a little bit over market value, but you're getting the benefit of brand new. Big danger with new construction, don't be a newbie wooby and go in there and start doing all the builder upgrades. I literally want you to go into this new construction, and I don't care if this feels like pouring acid into your eyes. Do the right thing for your money and your wealth. Leave the carpet and linoleum and just live with it. Stop trying to go, oh, well, now we own the house. We got to do hardwood floor. Now we got to do wainscoting and we got to do crown molding. It's all a money grab to rip you off and rob you of your wealth. The reason people go broke in houses is because they overspend improving them. They do not act like pros. They act like newbies. It's a big mistake. Do not overspend on real estate. So, fork number one is just go new construction. Fork number two, you gotta make sure you're doing your numbers correctly. Because if you're looking at a property that has some nasty paint and carpet on the walls, and you call up a licensed contractor, and I'm not bagging on licensed contractors here, okay? Ran a licensed contracting company, okay? Folks, if you look at a property that needs paint and carpet, here's what you do. You call a painter directly. Call 3 painters directly. Go to Home Depot and find referrals to painters. There are people handing out their business cards all day long. Or better yet, you paint it on the weekend. You gotta scrape the ceiling? Get a P100 respirator, watch some YouTube videos, and go do it. Who cares if it's not 100% perfect? Or find somebody else to finish it for you after you scrape it all down. Follow precautions. Yeah, there can be asbestos, there can be lead, there can be mold. Learn what a P100 respirator is. Learn how to protect yourself from things that aren't really that big of a deal. Lead, asbestos, mold, please. It's a joke if you just follow the correct precautions. As a homeowner, there's a reason the EPA gives you guidance, for example, on how you can deal with mold yourself. So it's not that big of a deal. You gotta deal with the issue that's causing the problem. If there's a leak, it's causing mold, call a plumber, fix the leak, get rid of the mold, problem solved. You can even do air samples for mold afterwards if you want, after you clean the place up. But the point is, things in real estate seem much more like a big deal than they really are. So if you go into a property and you call up a general contractor and you take the noob approach and you're in this 1960s property and all of a sudden the contractor comes in and goes, oh, you know, the electrical system's old. Oh, you know, that's not up to code anymore. Oh, you know, the plumbing's not up to code anymore. Oh, you know, we should just tear out all the kitchen cabinets. Oh, wow, those are some old fiberglass bathtubs. Oh my gosh, we should just tear all that crap out too. Well, yeah, guess what you're gonna get? You're gonna get a $150,000 whole house remodel bid. You get what you ask for. You call a licensed contractor, you get what you ask for. Now, flip the script. And I'm not saying go unlicensed. I'm saying I get on the phone with an electrician and go, yo, I got a property here. It's going to be a rental in the future. I just need the existing electrical system made safe. I'm on a shoestring budget. I do not have money to do everything. I just want this safe. I don't want this property to burn down, and I don't want anybody to get zapped. Can you do that for me? Great. Come on out. Do a bid. Great. Perfect. What are they going to do? GFCIs, make sure there are no faults, make sure the breakers aren't rusted and arcing, and they solve the electrical issues. You do the same thing with plumbing. You reglaze the bathtubs and you repaint the cabinets instead of replacing the stuff. You put in $50 faucets instead of $500 faucets, because why are you even thinking about putting in $500 faucets when $50 faucets, guess what a $50 faucet does? It makes water flow. And guess what a $500 faucet does too? It does the same freaking thing. So when people start putting their heads on correctly about how real estate functions and how to make money in real estate, it's not that hard. Okay, so what about the title? How do you take $10,500 on a property and end up getting to $100,000? Well, let's go with the example that I gave you, which is you find a $350,000 listed fixer-upper. I don't care if it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath from the 1920s or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath from the 1980s. It doesn't matter to me, okay? Newer the better, but you don't have to have a strict new bias. So you just have to be more aware of other issues that could come up with older. Okay, so now you find a $350,000 property. You look at it and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna take $150,000 to fix this thing up. Then you look at it from the rental hat perspective and you get these quotes like I'm talking about. People like, oh, Kevin, we can get this done for $45K because your electrician's gonna do this, your plumber's gonna do this, you're gonna send in the specific trades. You're gonna be dealing with the house, you're gonna be there every day anyway, so you coordinate it, put in a little bit of work. But then guess what you're also gonna do? You're gonna go there on weekends and do the cabinets yourself. Do the painting of the walls yourself. Scrape the ceiling yourself. Do a little bit of work yourself. It's not that hard. Be careful, by the way, with demo, okay? Everybody wants to go in with a hammer and start swinging and opening walls. Big mistake. You get the city on your butt. You do not want the city on your butt, okay? Anything that requires planning, you run away from. Because here's how planning works. Hey, yo, architect, I want to do plans for my house. Okay, Kevin, sounds good. I'll get you plans in 6 weeks. Oh, could you do any faster? Sure, I'll get them done in 4 weeks. I'll just rush them and you'll have way more corrections. Then you submit your plans. You're like, yay, we submitted our plans. The city takes 8 weeks to get back to you and the city's like, here are your plans with corrections. And then you get your corrections like, cool. Hey, architect, can you do the corrections? Sure, in 6 weeks. Can you do them in 4? Okay, I'll do them in 4. You submit them again, you wait another 6 weeks with the city to get your plans back, and the city goes, oh, we have more corrections for you. And you literally keep looping down the cycle until you never want to touch real estate again. So, do not touch anything that has to do with planning. Don't move walls. Don't do things that require special plans to be submitted with the city. It's stupid. Just put the house back the way it was meant to be. I don't care if the master bath feels small because it's from the 50s. I don't care if you don't like where the wall placement is. Your goal is to go in there, paint, carpet, clean it up, put some inexpensive fixtures in, light fixtures, and I'm not saying cut corners, I'm not saying lipstick on a pig. You can do high quality work using lesser expensive materials. It's just not that hard. Hey, by the way, quick note, yeah, the market is pretty competitive, and one way that I've found to put myself in front of sellers before their properties hit the market is with Deal Machine. If you go to metkevin.com/deals, you could sign up for Deal Machine and get some free credits to send some free mailers and postcards directly to your favorite potential listings that are maybe going to come up for sale, or properties that may come up for sale in the future. The way I like to identify those is I look for properties that purposely look like they have an old dilapidated paint color, or maybe even a driveway, or it kind of looks like the yard's overgrown and beat up, but the windows are new, the roof is new, and it looks like the owners spent a lot of money on the systems of the house, like the expensive things, but they did not spend a lot of money on the things that are easy to do, like paint and carpet and weeding. I can do that with my own labor. That's the kind of target I'm looking for. And so I love sending mailers, and I send hundreds of mailers monthly to properties that I've specifically targeted that look like what I've just described, so that I can hopefully find many of these deals off market. Check it out by going to metkevin.com/deals. All right, so now you are fighting to qualify for a property and you see one, okay, it's that $350,000 house. It looks like a great deal. And you're like, Kevin, I'm gonna do like you say, I'm gonna put 3% down, I'm gonna put the little down, but I don't have the $30,000 to fix it up. I've got maybe a little bit of extra money to get started on it. Perfect. Then that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get started little by little on the thing. And every time you get paid, you're gonna take your money and you're gonna do a little bit more on that property. You're gonna paint it, you're gonna clean it up, and you're gonna slowly clean that place up to where you can live in it, maybe live in one room, and slowly fix the place up over time. You don't have to have $40,000, $50,000 sitting around right away. Get the place to where it's in a livable state, which usually you can do by cleaning it up and cleaning it out. Scrape the ceilings. You can do a lot of the stuff, the prep that you need to do, the cleaning, the paint, a lot of the stuff you could do for very, very inexpensive costs. Don't worry about the landscaping yet. Don't worry about the exterior paint. Focus on scraping the ceilings, clean it up, get the gunk out of the bathtubs and the trash out from around the property, paint the thing, clean it up, and move in. Get the thing into a livable condition. And so your goal, $350,000 place hits the market. You buy it for $400,000 because you write a nice letter to the owners and you waive some contingencies. So now you put, let's say, $3,000 down, 3% down on $400,000. You got a loan of $388,000. You put $12,000 down. Great, now you control the property. Now over the next 6 months, you're gonna spend $30,000 or whatever capacity you have to spend to fix the property up. You're gonna do a lot of work yourself if you don't have the extra money. If you've got the extra money, great, then you don't have to do as much money yourself. You can hire the rest out. If you wanna hire everything out, get it done for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 or less. It depends how much you wanna do. And it depends on the area in which you are. Look, if you're in an area in Idaho where houses rent for $1,000, maybe you only spend $10,000 fixing the place up. A little bit of touch-up paint, you don't even change the colors, and you put in some new appliances and some new carpet and linoleum, you call it a day, it's 10 grand, you're done, you're good to go. If you're in, let's say, a Southern California house and you want to spend a little bit more, hey, maybe you spend a little bit more. And that gets you to spending $30,000. And maybe now you look very similar because you put your own blood, sweat, and tears into the thing. You have a house that's very similar to property selling for, say, $500,000. Now, your basic renovation is not going to be worth as much as a flip, but it's going to be worth pretty similar to, or pretty dang close to what the flips are relative to what you were able to buy it for. So let's say you buy a place for $400,000, 3% down, that's $12,000 down. Now you got a loan of $388,000. You put, let's say, $30,000 into it over 6 months. So you're into the deal for $430,000. And now all of a sudden, your property is worth not $500 like the flips, but $480, let's say. Well, that just created $50,000 of net worth for you. See, the beautiful thing about that is because you now saved money and worked towards spending the money to fix it up, that is now extra equity as well. So $480,000 minus the $388,000, you just convinced yourself to save the money to fix up the property, to save the $12,000 down payment. All of a sudden, you have a net worth of $480 minus $388. But wait, with inventory how low it is, the odds are after the 6 months or 3 months it took you to fix the place up, the place is probably worth at least the $8,000 more. In which case, if your house is worth $488, there you go. You've got $100,000 of equity in this property. And what'd you do? Yeah, you put that $12,000 down. Yeah, you saved up to put in that $30,000 worth of work or material. Maybe it was less. Again, depends on the area you're in, depends on your capacity to save. But now you've created $100,000 net worth. And you're not going to sell the property. Your goal isn't to flip this. What's your goal instead? Well, after a couple years, especially if the market keeps going the way it is, maybe you refinance in the future, you get rid of mortgage insurance, maybe you even lower your interest rate in the future, depends on where we stand, or you refinance, don't get any cash out, do a cash out or do a home equity line of credit, and now you have a big credit card built into your home where if you ever needed to swipe the credit card of your house, you'd be paying 4 or 5% interest, maybe 6% interest on a secondary loan against your house, which you can now use to buy the dip in stocks if you wanted to. But the point is, you're now in the real estate market. And here's the beautiful thing. If you have a $480,000 house and the house just appreciates for $488,000, let's say, and then over the next year after you fix it up, it goes up in value just 5%. Just 5% of an increase in value on $488,000 is $24,400. Well, you put in that 30K plus the 12K, right? That's 42K. You've almost, in 2 years, you got basically your money back in net worth. And all of a sudden your net worth is 6 figures rather than, oh, I put all my $12,000 into options in the stock market and oh, yay, I tripled it and it turned into $36,000. But then because you were taking on so much risk to triple, there's a chance of you potentially losing all of it and you go back to zero or pretty close to zero or even half. Like real estate just got you to 6 figures plus. Like there's no reason for people not to start with real estate. People bag on real estate because it's hard to find a deal. Well, let me ask you, if you think it's hard to find a deal, are you pre-approved? And are you looking twice a day? Because if those two things aren't true, yeah, probably is hard to find a deal. Also, if you are pre-approved and you are looking twice a day for a deal, and you're like, well, everything that just comes up in my market is overpriced. Really? Is everything just selling over the asking price because maybe you're not keeping up with the comps? Are the comps you're looking at July comps from last year? Or are they February and March 2021 comps where you're actually up to date on what the current market pricing is and the trajectory of the market? When you throw yourself into this real estate market, you're gonna learn so much more. And you're gonna see the power of being able to leverage your real estate with just 3 to 5% down and really maximize and do what other people can't when you put the right mindset on. Now, if you want more perspectives on how I handle real estate, check out the programs I have linked down below. I have a real estate investing course and a do-it-yourself property management and rental renovations course. And these programs help save you tens of thousands of dollars if you follow the simple steps I provide in these programs. You all the insight on how to make sure you're negotiating a deal correctly and how to get deals in competitive environments. Folks, you gotta get into real estate. If your net worth is under $50,000, seriously get into real estate. Look for a deal, follow the steps in this guide here. Don't overspend on real estate and realize if things ever go bad with real estate, you can always rent out rooms, you can rent out the building, or guess what happens? The government comes in to swoop out homeowners first. I'm not saying go overpay, and I'm not saying live beyond your means. Take this safely. It is a real obligation, but your capacity for building wealth is substantially higher the lower your net worth is. If your net worth is under $50,000, you should be looking into real estate and increasing your income. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.